Hi everyone, my name is Diane and I do collage, I do mixed media, I do art journaling, junk journaling, and things like that. And sometimes I share with you what I'm doing in my art studio that's in my bedroom as far as organizing and just art things like that that I like to share. And I wanted to take a few minutes and show you both of these journals that I have been working on here recently. I've been adding images to both of these, and I have actually gotten both of them filled up with images, so all the pages have something glued onto them. So I thought that it would be a good idea just to do a quick flip through and show you where I'm at with all of these. And I have shared a couple videos as I've been working on these, just a little bit along the way, what I've been thinking and why, and this, both of them have been just kind of growing into something that for sure I wasn't planning on whenever I first started working in both of these books. So this one is a junk journal that I made from, almost all of it is just from junk mail that I got. The cover is from Molly Makes, two different Molly Makes magazines. And I do have a video that I made whenever I first made this. I think I made this, I can't remember. I think it's like back in 2016 whenever I made this. And it's taken me this long to kind of finally figure out and start working in it. I've kind of tried a couple times here and there and failed miserably. And I am I am really glad that I did fail miserably, because I am loving the direction that this one has been taking and where it's going. So last night I got the last image glued into it, and I've just kind of been adding some little extra things in it today, so I wanted to show you where I'm at with this one for sure. And then this is just a book that I picked up from a used bookstore, and I got it originally, I got it to use the floral images that are inside, to use those in my collages. And for some reason, I decided that I wanted to actually turn this book into a journal and use it as a journal. So what I've been doing in this one is I have been going through and adding images to cover over all the text that's in the book. So that one is all filled up. Also, I think there might be one spot in here in one of the images where along the top there's some text that's on the image, and I just need to cover that up. But besides that, this one is done also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to point you down, take you over to my easel, point you down, and we'll do a flip through, and I will just talk to you about where I'm going with this and maybe where both of these are wanting to kind of lead to next. And I have a pretty good idea where this one wants to go. This one, I'm not totally sure, so I might just kind of set this one to the side a bit and just kind of wait and see where it wants to go to next. Because right now, I'm really enjoying working in this one. So I'm going to punch down and I will show you what all I've done so far with both of these books. Okay, so here are the two journals, and I guess I'll talk about this one here first real quick. And I will share the link to my first talking about this, and for sure down in the description box I will put the other links that I have where I've shared about both of these journals. But this one is a book that I picked up at a used bookstore, and I originally was going to use it just to cut the floral images out of, and I had this just on my bookshelf for a while, and just to have to cut the images out of. And for some reason I decided that I wanted to try to actually turn this into a journal, and I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go with it. And so the first thing though that I knew is that in order to work in it, I needed to cover up the text somehow that's in the book. So what I started to do with this first was just to go through, and I started any place where there was text in the book, I just added an image. And when I first started working in this, I did these first 2 pages right away. Actually, I think before I even started really adding anything in the rest of the book, I did this. And so I think this type of journaling with the found word is probably where I'm going to go along with the rest of it in here. This journal, I have, with both of these, I have been working in these, how I've never really worked in a journal before. Usually I do a page, you know, all at once, all together. I'll do 1 page at a time. And, you know, I'll finish that page and then I'll turn to the next page in my journal and I'll do that. It's, you know, it's finish a page, move on, finish a page, move on. This one, and I was thinking about this earlier this morning, it kind of, in a sense, is more like Shannon Green's idea of doing the journaling by 5s. So where she would go through and you did 1 thing and you did that 1 thing on every single page. And it's been years and years and years since I did that. I have my journal that I did and I love it. And actually I need to maybe add some more to it. But what you did though is you spent 5 minutes, you did, you know, and you did that 1 thing. So maybe you added a layer of paint to every page. And then the next layer, you would go through and you would add like a stamped image to every single page. And that's all that you did. And this has kind of been the same, as in, I seem to be doing this in layers, but with paper. I did find these the other day, and I think I'm trying to decide if I want to put something on the front. So that's why those are sitting there. But with this, I have just, whenever I kind of felt like working on something, but I wasn't really exactly sure what, or really didn't feel like working on anything else, I always just find a lot of, it's very calming for me just to sit and go through magazine images and look through the images and to just glue them down where they kind of felt like they needed to be. And so that is what I've been doing with this book. So on those days when I've been tired from work and just wanting to do something but not wanting to get a lot of stuff out, or just not sure what I wanted to do, I would grab, I've got this basket here and it's just full of just images, just all sorts of everything that I've cut out and saved. And I would just sit with this basket and just kind of leaf through these. And when I found an image that I liked, say like I was going through here and here I found this girl and I really liked her, I would just kind of go through here and see where it would fit good. With this one, I kind of tried to have to focus on bigger images, say like maybe her. So if I really, really liked her, I would go through and then just see where it fit, where it worked on that page. And then if it was big enough to cover up the text that I was needing to cover up. So that is how I have been working on this. And so far, as of the other day, I have gotten an image on every page now. So sometimes it's kind of easy to tell which one is what I glued down, and like this one, it's kind of hard to tell which one I glued down, but I did this one. So I was thinking about kind of color and having things match and go together as much as I could. This was actually the image that I had originally had in the basket. This was the back side, and I thought it was kind of cool how it was torn like that. So but yeah, so I've just gone through and added an image to each page. Some of them have 2 added on them, like this one has 2. This one back here has extra ones added onto it. So I don't know if that's going to be a little bit of the next step, is to see if there's another smaller image that I can maybe add onto here to take it a little bit further. I kind of feel like, as far as adding anything like this, that I'm finished with that. And so I've just kind of been letting this one sit to the side a little bit to see what I want to do next. Part of me is thinking about adding some of the intricately cut out flowers that I've been doing. I've really been getting, I've really been enjoying just sitting down and cutting out very detailed floral images. Let me grab one. So like this right here. This is one that I have that is actually part of a collage that I've been working on, but I have really just, I love just sitting down and cutting these out. And some of them take me quite a while. They're very detailed. I have to use my X-Acto knife. I have to use my really fine point scissors, and I just sit and cut these out, and it really just slows my brain down. I really can't think of anything else while I'm working on these because I just have to be so hyper focused with this. And I think that's just part of the reason why I have been enjoying doing this so much, is because it just really forces me to slow down. And last couple of months at work were a lot. And now that I'm on summer break, I'm kind of finally able to recoup from that and try to get some rest. And this was very helpful for me, just to come home and I could just sit and cut these out. So there's a big part of me that is wanting to maybe add some elements like this onto these pages, just to kind of take it to the next step. And then maybe after that, then I might be ready to start adding some words, but I'm not sure. So that's kind of why I have just kind of let this one sit to the side until I figure out what I want to do with it next. I think I'm gonna do that, and then after that, I'm pretty sure I'll be ready to start adding on some of just some words. And I really like doing found word journaling. Just taking bits and pieces of sentences and phrases, words that I find in magazines, and just piecing them together to say just whatever it is that I'm wanting to say at that time. So just back to doing this completely different than anything I've ever done before. I've never just kind of gone through and filled up a book with images and not really known what I was going to do with those. So I have just been putting images in here that I like and that I was drawn to put in here, and ones that just worked in on the space on these pages. So yeah, that's just what I've been doing in this. So, you know, right now they don't totally fully have a lot of meaning behind them. It's still just the image, and that's what I'm trying to say, I guess, as far as it being something, a way that I've been working in this that I haven't worked in any other journals. I usually have the idea behind the page before I start it, or at least the image that is driving whatever I'm doing with that page. And these are just me slapping a bunch of images down in this book, and now I get to see where it wants to go to next. So this one back here, I really liked her, but I'll have to cover that up somehow. I need to stop putting this one on here because this is already for another project. So that's this book here. So I just have that little front bit. I need to decide if I want to put something there, and if so, what it would be. So that is that. And then this other book, this is a junk mail journal, and I also have a video that I made not long after I made it. I made this years and years and years ago, and then it set. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, and then I actually kind of forgot about it. And I had an idea
what I wanted to do with it, where I wanted to take it. And I kind of started doing it a little bit, and I wasn't liking how it was turning out at all. And so then I just stopped working in it altogether. And for some reason, I don't remember why, I picked this back up not very long ago and started adding images into it again. And originally, whenever I started putting things inside, I had been purging through a bunch of my Bella Grace magazines, and I love the images in them. And well, the magazine is so expensive, and here I was, cutting up this, I don't know how much they are now. I haven't bought one for quite a while, but almost a $20 magazine. And there I was, cutting them all up. So I had it in my head that since I had spent all this money on these magazines, that I needed to use everything that was inside of it, even if I didn't really care for the image. And so I had saved all the images that I could from that magazine. And I ended up deciding that maybe what I should do would be to start placing them in here and using them as just a base image for the collages that I was working on in this journal. And so I started doing that. I started adding the images in, and then I stopped, because even though I still wasn't liking the images, I kind of realized that even putting them in this journal, I still didn't like them, and I wasn't liking how it looked, because they weren't images that I was drawn to. They didn't give me any feeling. They were pretty, but they were just kind of there. And so I set this to the side and I stopped working in it again. And not long ago, I'm not sure why, I picked this back up and I started looking at it. And that's when I realized that the reason why I had quit working in it is because I didn't like what the images were. I didn't like what was inside. And it just was shutting me down. And so I just didn't want to have anything to do with the book whatsoever. So I actually started tearing out some of the images that I thought, you know what, fine, I don't like you, I'm tearing you out. And so I started doing that. And once I started doing that, and then also just covering other ones up, I realized that I really, really liked where it was going. And whenever I had recovered this front page, and I remember doing that and thinking, okay, this is more me, and this is what I like, and I like the colors, and I like how this looks. And that's when I just really started working in this again. And this has also been one that I have been just adding images to bit by bit. Whenever I have free time, or in the evening when I'm just wanting to do something quiet. My favorite time of day lately has been in the evening, when the birds, it's nice enough right now for me to have my windows open. So in the evening, it's here in Nebraska, so there's usually a little bit of a breeze. The breeze is coming in. The sun is pretty much set. I've got a lot of trees just right outside my window. And so the birds start coming in and nesting for the night. And so I can hear the birds singing and rustling around, and my fountain's going. And I've got my, my twinkle lights on, and I just sit here and go through my basket of things, and just look through it and find a picture that will fit on the right space that I'm looking for, and add it in. And I've been doing this now for a couple months now. I've been working on this and just really, really enjoying it, and just not really thinking about much of anything besides if it's an image that I just really like, and if it works on this space, then I place it in there. So this one is made from almost all junk mail. There is a paper sack in here, and I've got this the wax bag, and I think that's, well, oops. I think that this is like a Starbucks little pamphlet. This is, but besides that, everything in here is junk mail that I got in the mail, and I just bound it really simply with some wax thread. I was doing something the other night and it was late and it gets kind of dark and I'm not sure what happened, but I accidentally cut the thread. So that's what is going on right here, is I kind of used another piece to tie things together. So hey, you know what, it doesn't matter. I was able to fix it, and it kind of gives it a little bit of something right there. So but yeah, I am almost, well, I'm done putting the images in this one. I finished this one the other day too, and now what I have been doing, I have been just kind of, it's going along the same lines as the other book, and I think I'm going to start adding some cut out elements onto some of these pages. I could also add, you know, a second image on some of these spaces if I want to. I'm not sure. So I am just kind of taking this one as it wants to be worked on and adding things as I feel like putting it in, you know, on these different pages and in this space. So a lot of these images are from Bella Grace magazine, and I have started adding just other regular type images into it, because at first that's what I was going to do, was completely use Bella Grace in here to use those up. But I've got all sorts of other great images that from other magazines, and I thought, you know what, why am I only allowing myself to put images in here from one certain magazine? So I have been adding just anything that I like, anything that makes me happy. And then yesterday I started adding things like this. So I've been adding images on top of these bigger ones. So getting into starting to cut things out to place on top. I don't think I'll do it to every page. Some of them I just like the way that they are. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll add words. If I do, once again, I imagine that it will be found word. But right now, I've just been sitting and cutting things out and just kind of seeing where they want to go. I've got a little card, you know, one of those little credit card size things that I'm gonna stick in here. I just need to find what image I want to put on there. I was going to put something on it, but it won't stick well, and also you can see through, so I didn't want to see the back of the image, you know, on the other page, and then try to worry about trying to cover all that up. So I just want to find something neat to stick in there. But right now, that is where this one is at, and it is for sure really starting to get thick, just because I've got so much in here now, many layers of images and paper. So this back page is what I have been kind of tinkering around with. I started looking at it last night. I'm not 100% sure if I want that girl there, and since I have been adding extra things onto these pages, I had cut this out and had it sitting on my area. I was like, well, that kind of fits. There's a little bit of her that you can see, and that's the fun thing with these, is that stuff doesn't have to make any sense. So if I just like the way that it looks, I'm putting it down on there. So trying to cover her up though, just in my collection of things that I have sitting around and out, this is when having some flowers is always a good thing, because you can use them to cover things up. So just by doing something like that, I'm able to cover up where she's at. So that's an option that I was thinking about. But then I found this, which I really like. I was just kind of looking through all of my things for something tall and thin that I could place on this side to cover her up. And I kind of like this because it helps. I think it's the colors, because the colors of the flower kind of match that more. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I'm gonna go. And I could trim off the sides of that bulb so that that clock fit on there. But I actually kind of like that a lot too. So that's what I've had sitting over to the side. I started this last night and it was getting pretty late, and I knew that it was probably a good idea for me to stop, because whenever I get tired and it's with something silly like this, even though my big thing that I have been trying to focus on as I've been working in this is just to not question anything. Is if I see something, if I see an image and I really like it, I'm like, okay, I need to glue it down. So, because I can tend to overthink things sometimes as far as when I'm doing stuff like this, and I just want this to be something relaxing to work in. So just no overthinking allowed. And I had caught myself doing that when I was looking at this, because I had cut this bit out yesterday along with with these other pieces, and I just had them cut out. I wasn't even sure where they would go, and I was flipping through each page and just kind of placing this on the page to see if it would work, and it wasn't working anywhere. And I tried to get it to work over here, kind of covering her, to cover her, have her eye just showing, and it wasn't working. And so I kept on coming back to this and placing that on there, and I was like, well, you know, that's ridiculous, why would I do that? And it's like, no, but then it's like, no, but I really like it. And so I kind of put a watch here, a couple clock faces, like, no. And then I had these butterflies that were just sitting on my space. I just cut them out of a magazine the other day, and it just kind of came together, and I was fighting it for some reason. And it was almost like part of me was saying, no, you can't do that type of collage in here. You're just adding single images, which is ridiculous. And that's me trying to force some sort of a rule on my journal so that every page is the same, and it should not be like that. I should do what I want to do on that page, and it doesn't matter if it fits with everything else or doesn't fit with everything else for that moment in that space. If that's the way that this wants to be, then that's what I need to let it do. And so I realized that I was really starting to fight that, and I thought, okay, this is ridiculous, I need to stop. And I grabbed my glue stick and I glued it down, and I absolutely love it. So it's just silly stuff like that I catch myself thinking, and it takes the whole point away of what I'm trying to accomplish with working in this book in the first place. So I'm kind of doing that over here with this, but I see it, and I know it's happening, and I know I'm doing it a little bit. But then again, I also know that if I don't do something that I really enjoy, that I'm not going to like it whatsoever, and I'll end up tearing it out. So it's kind of, it's a very there's a fine line between thinking it through enough to where I know it's what I really want, to just completely overthinking it, something altogether. So anyways, that is where I am with this book. And actually, as I've been standing here talking through all this, I think this is probably what I'm gonna do. So the other option I thought with this one is, I think it's the color of the orchids that I don't really care for this. I like them, but on this space, it's not working. So I even thought about cutting them off and putting like some bigger roses or something. But I think I'm going to save this for something else, and I'm going to go with this. So I'm just going to set that over to the side. And that is this journal. The cover is from a Molly Makes magazine. I would have to go back and watch the original video because I honestly don't remember how I did it. I don't remember what I used as the base, because this is the two halves of a cover. So I have no idea. So, anyways, and I'm going to leave this as is. I am not going to cover over any of this at all because I really like the way that this looks. And I thought about maybe even, because I know this is going to get even bigger, making some sort of a band or something, or a tie to help keep it closed. But I'm not sure, and that's thinking way ahead from where I'm at. But that is where I am with these. And what's next, I'm not sure, but I would for sure say that I'm just going to probably do some more things like this and add them to it. This one, you know, sometimes when I look at it, I think it's kind of fine as is. I don't know if I'll add anything, but I imagine I will go through and then just start adding words here and there, and just, you know, maybe when I'm wanting to just work on something, I'll go through and I'll flip and I'll find a page that really is calling to me that day, and I'll just add some words on it. And I kind of feel like that's how this one is going to go. So there, yeah, that is it. And I would love to hear about anything that you're working on right now, what you're working on this summer, if you have any summer projects, things like that. If you have any questions, please be sure to ask, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And I always share all sorts of videos on my Instagram, so if you're not following me there, please be sure to follow me there. I post on my stories quite a bit, especially now that I'm home again and able to work on things a lot more. I've been sharing a lot more of just my daily process that I have been doing as I've been working on things. So be sure to follow me along on there. And yeah, I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. And I appreciate each and every one of you, your comments, your support, always. It means so much to me. So thank you so very much. And I will be talking with you later. Bye, everybody.